Everybody on? Good morning. It's July 30th, 2024, and I'd like to open the regular meeting of the Klickitat County Commissioners, noting 2 commissioners are present and Jake is on Zoom. Mr. Anderson's on Zoom, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So approval of the business agenda.
Does anybody have any changes to the business agenda?
None here.
None here?
The only one I had was for a discussion on the insurance conference, and I'm trying to look over the blue card real quick, or they can just tell me it's there. Okay.
I just let the record show I'm gonna have to step out at 10 o'clock. The task force on the green energy taxes, the tax shift, that meeting's at 10 o'clock, and I'm on that task force, so I'm gonna step out.
Okay.
Great. We look forward to a report from that. Thank you.
With that, I would make a motion to approve the business agenda as presented.
I will second the motion.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. So approval of a resolution.
I'm sorry, I'm making a note.
That's
here.
okay.
Give me a half second. Madam Chair, I move that we approve the resolution in the matter of declaring an emergency for the purpose of responding to threats to the public safety and property due to the Bighorn Fire and public safety road site or radio site damages.
I'll second the motion.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
So I guess my question would be is, do we usually do emergency declarations for fires like this? I guess I'm trying to understand, like, are we going to try to go for FEMA dollars, or what? Is it because the EOC center got authorized? What exactly was the emergency declaration, and does it allow for?
Mr. King, would you like to come forward? Just a second. I think Jeff would like to answer that for you.
And I don't know if Commissioner Anderson can see us, but EOC Finance Section Chief Jen has joined us as well.
Make it quick.
So basically, the answer is both. All the above. We did activate the EOC. I used my own staff and volunteers to facilitate everything related to the Bighorn Fire and our operations there with the incident management team, as well as the I think they're calling it the microwave fire east of Hood River, Indian Hill, that affected our Indian Hill radio site. And that fire, I have not been able to get out of Hood River County Emergency Management yet, whether that was federally declared fire or not. And they've got their hands a little full. Got multiple fires in their county as well. But if any of those things become available, then our emergency declaration will help us or allow us to be able to take advantage of those dollars.
Right. And Commissioner Anderson, I do know that Public Works will be trying to seek some reimbursement with the declaration. So.
And as of this morning, I received an email from FEMA that they have opened up the HMGP grant application process for these wildfire disasters in the state of Washington.
Yeah, the Bighorn Fire did not receive an FMAG, a federal declaration of a disaster in and of itself. We were unsuccessful in that effort. But there may be other avenues for both our residents as well as government.
Okay.
And we are listed as a priority county on that HMGP email that I just received.
acronym, HMGP.
Hazard Mitigation Plan
Okay.
or
thank you.
Program, sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Did you have more questions, Mr. Anderson?
No, I was just wondering, because I know a lot of fences burned, if that would hopefully give our farmers, you know, a chance to go for reimbursement so they can get some of those fences rebuilt.
I think that's always the hope. It just, even the last fire out there, that didn't quite get to that threshold. So this one probably won't either, but it's worth trying.
There are other avenues and we've
Yes.
already been working on those.
Mhm.
We had a public meeting and some of those questions were raised last Saturday out there in Alderdale, and we're working with those landowners to facilitate whatever they can. The FSA program might be their best option at this point. The county or no other government agency can request that for them. They have to request it themselves, and they're in the process.
And I'd just like to say, I know you put in a lot of hours, Jeff, on these multiple fires. I want to say thank you to you and your staff, as well as all the rest of the public agencies that worked really hard on this.
Thank you, sir. I'll pass that along. And then also there's the matter of the replacement of the generator at Indian Hill. If you'd like me to come back this afternoon or sometime to go over that. Chairman Zoller and I had the discussion, made some decisions. Because that site has no backup power that we can really count on. And we're borrowing a generator right now to serve that site. We had a 4-hour outage when the fire impinged upon that location. The power went out and the generator failed and is not repairable by reasonable means.
Was that generator that failed our generator, or was it a co-located generator for the whole site?
That's our site and county-owned generator. The whole facility is ours. Or Hood River County is co-located in there. That's why they were willing to loan us their generator, their backup trailer generator from their 911 center to take it up there on an emergency basis. It is now installed as a backup, but they need it back for their 911 center.
Madam Chair, I would make a recommendation that actually we're still in the middle of a vote, so I'll hold my recommendation until we're done with this vote, and then I'll make. I don't want to put an amendment on a motion to approve a resolution.
So are we done with discussion on the resolution?
Yep.
part? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so motion and a second. We had discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Resolution passes. Thank you.
We're getting a little off basis, but I wanted to let Mr. Anderson know that consent agenda item number 5 is Swissler, and we will, the board will probably need him to participate in that. But I would, where I was going was I would like Director King to come back and give us an update on the generator and have that discussion at some point today. Whatever the chair feels.
Is there a time for that update that works for you, Mr. Anderson? In the afternoon, will you be able to be back, or do you want us to just go ahead?
Why don't we bring Jeff back in the afternoon to give the update?
Okay.
I know there's people waiting to provide public comment.
We have new business at 1 o'clock, unfinished business after that.
Yeah, I would put him in right after the guest that we have.
Okay, so just after 1 o'clock guest.
Okay.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the commissioner meeting minutes from July 11th, 2024 and July 16th, 2024.
I'll second the motion.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. Thank you. So we're to that portion of our meeting for public comments. So all those in the room, if you'd like to speak, raise your hand. We'll recognize you and come forward and identify yourself if you can. And the same for Zoom, raise your hand and we'll call on you, and we'd love to hear from you. So we'll start in the room. Is there anybody that'd like to give public comment this morning? Kind of a quiet room this morning. Mr. Smith, I'm looking right at you. Yeah, eventually you don't like to go first. Okay, online. Is there anyone online this morning? 3245. Are you available? You were unmuted. Would you like to speak?
Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear
Good
me
morning.
now? Yes, the reason I'm calling is if
Um,
we look back into the.
Could you tell me
Oh.
who's speaking? I can't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
Ken
okay.
McCune, Goldendale.
Thank you.
If we look back in the history of the county, when it first started, there was maybe 1 or 2,000 people when it was created, and we have three county commissioners. Here it is, 100 years later. We still have 3 county commissioners. And the population has grown to almost 25,000. So when you have a situation like the jail where you have three commissioners making decisions and 2 of them side for one way and that leaves the one out in right field, you might say, where's the checks and balances here? How do you make it look like the system is working for the people? The way it is now, there's just not enough representation. We need 2. I feel like you could solve it by having 2 at-large positions created on the commission. They wouldn't have to represent a particular voting precinct like 1, 2, or 3 districts, but they would have the same voting power as the other 3, and just get more people involved in the decisions instead of having like a 2-person coup that just has it their way. And you know, you go out and you could put it on the ballot, an advisory ballot question. Next year, maybe have a committee to look into it, and have more representation from the people. There's a lot of good people out there that I'm sure would run for the at large commissioner's seat. Just really kind of upset about how things have turned out with 2 people making decisions for everybody, multi-million-dollar decisions that only 2 people basically were the driving force behind it. There was hardly any discussion. So in the future, hopefully, we'll have more representation by having more commissioners, and then your workload disappears a little bit because you'll have 2 more people to help with the commissioner's workload. And as far as wages and salaries, I don't know how much you guys make each year, but I dare say if you took your 3 salaries and divided it at 5 ways, you'd have enough money for everybody to have a little bit of money. And that way you don't have to raise increase the budget. You already have the money there with the existing commissioners' wages. It's just a little unnerving to think that 2 people can control so much.
Thank you, Mr. McCune. Thank you for your comments. So
You're
in
welcome.
the room, everyone was just waiting, weren't they? So, yeah. Anyone in the room? Okay, going forward, how about on Zoom? Is there anyone else that would like to raise their hand this morning? I'm not seeing anyone. I don't think we have anyone in the room, so we'll ask.
No.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Andrews.
Come up here and sit?
Yes, you do.
All right.
And give us your name and where you're from.
All right, Todd Andrews from White Salmon. Who was that just spoke?
Ken McCune.
McCune. I wasn't planning on speaking, but he brought up some good points. The whole jail situation has been, I don't think things have been brought to the light of day or brought before the people. And Lori, when you were running, you promised to have town hall meetings and bring things to the people. And I still believe that you want to do that. I think this jail situation is a perfect example where you could bring things to the people, I know one town hall meeting was planned and canceled. I know there's differing opinions, but I've spoken to hundreds of people that think the decision is going to be made before the people get to see the financial, what's actually going to come of it. And so I would just ask that you guys have, and I could put a town hall meeting for you in White Salmon. And you could bring some of those things, because I know the financials have not been done, I don't think, very well, where I don't think the people know what the cost is going to be. But you guys are moving the ball down the road very quickly. And I think we'll make a decision before the people know what the outcome is going to be, or even before you guys know what the outcome is going to be. I'd also ask for Lori and Jake to go visit the jail. I went there last week. That was my first time to go there. Amazing jail. And so if you put the safety of the employees and the safety of the prisoners first, and then also consider the community at large and how much the decisions that you're making will cost them. So I don't know if there's any other decisions besides those three things: how it's going to affect the citizens, how it's going to affect the prisoners, and how it's going to affect the people working there in their lives. And if you don't go visit it and get eyes on it, then I don't know how you've gotten this far without doing that. So I'd love to have a town hall meeting, sooner the better, in the next 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Did the beeper go off? Okay, I see you stopped before. Okay, I was waiting.
Anybody's trying to be done.
Yeah. Great. I guess we were in the room, online. Does anyone have their hand raised online this morning?
Bugs Bunny's there. We can have Bugs Bunny speak.
Yeah. Did he click? 4901?
Good morning, commissioners. This is Sherry in Houston.
Hi, Sherry.
And I was out of town last week, out of state, and I haven't looked into the news, and I've just been given, people's information that they've told me about this fire out in Bickleton again. The one, I guess, is that the Bighorn fire? Is that what we're calling it?
Correct.
Okay. So that fire out there, of course, nobody likes rumors. I don't like rumors. I like facts. So I'm hoping if I have rumors being told to me, you can set the story straight. So I was told that fire could have been started or was started by another wind turbine. And as you know, Klickitat County had the wind turbine fire, which Avangrid never paid a dime for the fire to be put out. When citizens, if they have a fire happen, they can be charged. And I know people who have been charged for putting out fires. But Avangrid, Iberola, a foreign corporation, didn't pay a dime for our county resources. So is it true that this fire was started by a wind turbine? And if you don't know, is the county going to find out? Because if these wind turbines, if it's the second one that's starting these fires that are endangering the inhabitants and ruining their lands and their fences and all their other stuff, I think our county needs to be thinking about how much more we're going to let them repower. And also, I was told that it burnt into Lund Hill. And did it burn any of Lund Hill solar panels? And if it did, and this might be Jeff King or whoever, and if it did burn solar panels, how was that fire fought? How did it release toxic fumes into the atmosphere, into the air? And I would just like more details on that and on that fire and how it started. What are the dangers to the inhabitants if wind turbines are catching on fire, and if solar farms or arrays or whatever we're calling them are catching on fire, what's the danger to the people? I mean, they're losing their property when the fires sweep through there. And then also it feels like our county lives in a state of emergency. It's just one emergency after another. And then you're all like, the county's like, oh, good, we can get more money. Well, with the ICE emergency in January, I don't know any resident that got money. The government gets money, but people also lost things, you know, and I really hope if you're living in a state of emergency, that if you're getting federal money, this money can get allocated to the people, not just the government. But so if you give me more details on this fire, how it started, did it burn into the Lund Hill solar array, and what's going on with that? I just like more details because I care about those people out in Bickleton. I care about everybody.
Thank you, Sherry. Your music started, but thank you very much, Sherry. We'll see what we can do for answers for you. So back in the room. Mr. Smith? You looked ready. I'm calling you out.
You can.
Busy.
Well, yeah, I understand busy too. I'm sore from it all too.
Mhm.
Andrew Smith, Klickitat County. Last week I attended the meeting downstairs for Dallasport Airport, which turned out to be a good thing. We're moving forward with it. I'm happy on it. We spent lots of money. We're still going to spend more money as the next flyboy. Hopefully this airport thing keeps moving forward. So it comes to the next question is, now that we spent all this money on the airport, now we're going towards the jail. We're going to spend more money on the jail. Where are we coming up with all this money? That is the big question for everybody, because I'm all for the airport. The jail's fine where it's at. Like I said some times ago, we're going to spend about $8 million in the next 6 months. That includes the county coroner too. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Oh, you got out of here before you got your music way ahead.
You'd have the button music soon if they leave early and still.
Oh, that'd be good.
music them.
That'd be great. Online again, is anybody else have something to say this morning? And there's no one else in the room that would like to speak, I don't think so. Online again, we'll ask one more time. So seeing none, we will close public comment and move to commissioners. Mr. Christopher, since you're in the room, would you like to go first?
I will. We'll start with Mr. McCune. The reason we have 3 county commissioners is that's how it's set by state law. You can essentially get to the phase that I believe 4 counties are at now, maybe even 5. Because a couple of them changed here in the last couple of years with populations, Spokane County being one of them, where they go to a charter county and go to 5 county commissioners. They have a county executive that manages all the departments, which we don't have a county executive. And then they also have their own receptionist / clerk / administrative helper for each one of those commissioners. So besides it being not legal, it is far more expensive than what you're requesting, and taking our $70,000 paychecks times 3, which is 110,000, dividing it by 5, which now makes it 42,000. 42,000, you're going to have a lot less qualified people running your county, and I'm sorry, that's a scary predicament. You pay people what they're worth, and if you aren't willing to pay enough, you're not going to get quality people, and I'm already arguing that. So that answers that. If you have more questions on that, I'm more than happy to chat with you. So give me a call or something. Mr. Andrews, I am with you on the town halls. The board is not. Till that changes, I don't know what to tell you. Financials on the jail, yes, but like you said, they're ever changing. Every week we're finding out something new. Something changing, something adding, something we have to do more. I don't know that we will ever know the financials until the year after the change is made, because even once we find and make the change, we're gonna have little gremlins popping up for a year that will need to be addressed. But I think it's even HR manager admitted it's going to cost well more than what was anticipated in the little binder that was presented. But I don't know how we get to a true and accurate binder, because even if I could agree with the numbers that were in the binder, there's going to be more things popping on. But yes, I agree with your point. Sherry, there's a lot to unpack there. I'll try. She heard the fire was started by the wind turbine. That's not something I've heard. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I don't know. Can't answer your question. Oh, that we should charge people to put out the fires they start. We don't charge people anything. That's fire departments. And fire departments do have the authority to charge the person for the fire that started the fire. If you have an illegal burn barrel and you start a fire, the chief of that district can go back and either issue you a citation or send you a bill. That's up to them. That's not up to us. So if that's something you would like to see, again, they might have legality problems if they charge one person but not the next person. So you think of a lot of the fires in this county are actually started, believe it or not, by farm equipment during processing season. And so if they started charging Bighorn for a windmill fire, if that's actually what started it, then they would need to go back and charge all these farmers for the fires that are caused on their properties by gas leaking out of the combine. So there's a catch-22 to that, but either way, it's up to the fire department, not to the Board of County Commissioners, on whether someone that started a fire gets billed or not. Talk about FEMA money. If we get FEMA money because there's a state of emergency, we should give that money back to the people. That would be illegal. If we got FEMA money, we got FEMA money to fix a generator that got burned up or walls that rotted because pipes burst, just like you get money from your insurance company to do said thing. We wouldn't be able to delegate that back and give it back to the people. So that's not something. Last question, where are we coming up with all this money? Honestly, I don't know. As we go through the budget, I'm sure I'll find out just like you'll find out. But yeah, I have a lot of concerns going forward, that's for sure. And that's all I have. If I missed anybody's question, I'm sorry. Contact me on the side and I'll be happy to answer it or ask it again next week.
Thank you. Mr. Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. McCune, creating two large positions, as Commissioner Christopher said, we cannot do without becoming a charter county. And when you point out, 25,000 people divided by 3 is actually very good representation, because you have counties that have 500,000 people nearly, and they only have 3 commissioners. So you actually have far better representation the way it's currently built. If you split the 3 salaries 5 ways, Klickitat County in the states currently has the lowest paid county commissioners, so you'd be further spreading that out. And that has been the lowest paid in the state and has been for a long time. And there's a valid reason behind that, because I think all of the commissioners in the past have been very fiscally conservative. Todd, the jail situation. We have made motions and all 3 commissioners are on the same page with the direction that's been given, and it was a unanimous vote. And staff is working diligently to work through that process, as well as we have outside consultant through the insurance agency who's working on their recommendations. Once that has been brought back together, we can come up with a better financial picture. I think our finance staff does a wonderful job taking information that is the best that they have available to them at the moment. And the packet that was brought forward back in April, I think, was the best that they could do with the information they had on hand, having to make assumptions. You can go back and review all those videos. Because where there was assumptions made, they were very clear about it when they gave us the information. What we need to do is now that we're moving into budget season, those assumptions are going to have to be revetted with the decisions that have been made so that we can come up with better, accurate numbers for costs for all the departments. Mr. Christopher brought up the corner department that we're creating. That's going to be an additional cost. We're trying to get dollars from the state to help cover that, but that won't be coming till early next year. To the person who said, these FEMA dollars that we get and all this money, why don't you give it to the people? Well, technically, when we get a grant, we are giving that money to the people because that's further taxes that you don't have to pay to the county. Klickitat County has the lowest taxes, or second lowest. It wiggles between the two in the state for what you pay to the actual county. Your junior taxing districts can charge something different, but what the county actually receives is very, very low. And the reason for that is because Klickitat County is very successful in getting state and federal grants. As for the fire, Sherry, we are not part of the fire departments. There will, I'm sure, be an investigation, and we will, when that is complete, we will find out the truth of what started the fire. As well as you live within a fire district. If you start a fire and you're in the fire district, you won't get a bill. If you choose to not be in the fire district likely will bill you. That's how the fire districts work. And Andrew Smith, thank you for coming to the meeting last week of the Klickitat board. I will just mention that $0.09 are being used on the airport. Those dollars can only be used for economic development purposes, and that's what we're using them for. We can't take $0.09 and put it towards the jail or something else. They're two separate, completely separate funds. So with that, I'll give back the rest of my time, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Mr. Christopher, you had one more thing.
Oh, I did make a note here and I forgot to answer Mr. McCune on his question on where are the checks and balances. The checks and balances happen every 2 years when there's a vote. And the people get to decide their representation. And if they're not happy with their representation, they can remove that representation and change it with somebody else. But that is the checks and balances afforded to the people. And that's all I had. That was the last question I had here. Thank you.
Thank you. So, where to start? We did have, I'm going to tear this apart a little bit and not go in order. We did have a discussion, I believe, last week about workshops, and what we landed on was many, many times our boards and our workshops don't meet during the summer. We have a problem getting people into the meetings. So I think we addressed that last week, that we'll move down the lane a little bit and try to hit fall when we have more people home from vacations, more people not having time off and children home. And then we see that our boards do get full, and we see that any meeting we hold is well attended. So that was a discussion we'd had a week ago. So it's not off our radar. It's just we want to hold the best meeting we can hold. And Sherry, the fire, we've stayed in touch. People have worked incredibly hard. And like everyone else, we have to wait for the official reports to come in. We can't speculate or listen to outside sources. We have to wait for the fire marshals and the DNR and the federal who send in official reports with what actually happened. And so I'm waiting to review those before I comment on the fires. Moving forward, something that has bothered me recently, not only nationally, but also in our county, is supposition and innuendo and the optics of what something looks like versus what it really is on the ground. And my suggestion, Mr. Andrews, and to any of you out there, if you have questions and you hear something from someone, please qualify it. We're open, we're available. Come in. We have incredible financial documents that very well qualified staff worked on very hard, extra hours, and spent that time to create the beginning documents to give us a ground floor to start with. Then we have worked diligently through the processes and hired very qualified people to do reviews to give us the next level up of what do we do next. Are we going to spend more money? Probably so, because many, many years have went by to where we need upgrades and changes to meet state statutes, and we're going to have to legally fund those. So we aren't dreaming something out of the box or just going to throw money at it and waste it. It's something we're going to be required to do. So if that number changes, it's because we've been advised that changes. And as far as the $8 million number coming up, or 6 million in the next few months, we haven't even set a number to that corner yet. We haven't fleshed out all those details. We'll be going through budget processes. I'm sure you're going to sit in, and it's very interesting. And we have a lot of back and forth conversation to get to the bottom line of how to spend the people's money and how to do it the best way possible, so we're not wasting money or just jumping for something. So it's a great process, and I know you'll be there. And thank you for coming to KCPTA. But again, I'll extend the invitation, Mr. Andrews, if you'd like to talk about everything we've done in the jail review, please reach out, come in, sit down. We'll drag out those documents. We'll go through everything with you line by line, so you can see openly what the commissioners have been doing. No problem. Thank you. So moving on, what do we have next? Consent agenda?
Madam Chair, I move that we pass the consent agenda with five items, noting I'm requesting to pull item number 5, which is Swissler contract, to be voted on separately right after the initial vote of the consent agenda with 5 items.
I will second the motion.
Motion and a second, discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Madam Chair, I move that we pass consent agenda item number 5, which is the Swissler contract.
I will second the motion.
Motion and a second, discussion.
Other than, I guess I need to go on record and say I've been opposed to this from day one, so I will continue to be opposed. That's all.
Mr. Anderson, did you have any discussion?
No, this is just a time extension for a project that has been going for a lot of years. So it's just a time extension. It doesn't cost us any money or anything else.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Madam Chair, I move that we pay the accounts payable warrants in the amount of $2,223,764.28 and the payroll benefit warrants in the amount of $636,585.11 for the date ending July 29th, 2024.
I will second the motion.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Department update and discussion with Clerk of the Board, Alicia Crumbles.
Madam Chair, I don't think we have time for this discussion today. I would like to remove it.
Did she faint?
Her jaw like hit the floor.
There is a thing called payback.
Just doing a little teasing and lightening the mood a little bit, taking her nerves off.
Good thing Human Resources is in the room.
Okay, commissioners.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you in that chair.
I know, it's weird. I know how everybody else feels. So Randy and I come before you. With one of the trainings I had gone to, I learned about some software that goes along with our website software, Civic Plus. And anyhow, one of the things that I know when I had first started with Lee Snell, she had constantly said that, gosh, we just need that one part-time person. We just need one more part-time person. Anyhow, I know between Leanne and I, we make it work. But I'm coming before you to ask if I can pursue getting Civic Plus meeting and agenda software connected to our website software. And what that would do is it would streamline the entire agenda management process. It has a built-in integration with Zoom. It's got a single sign-on Civic Plus platform, and it will eliminate an average of 16 hours to complete the agenda and post each week. So it will save between Leanne and I 16 hours. on
Does this have
average.
meeting minutes as part of it?
It does, it does. What will happen is instead of each department giving us paper copies, they will sign into a portal. They will fill out the little information, which would be the cover sheet. They will download their documents and they will submit them to the agenda. It will automatically populate. We will go through and just double check everything, make sure everything's there. The PA opinion, and then, make sure everything is there. If somebody has changes at the last minute and instead of it taking us between 20 to 45 minutes to process that change, it'll take 2 minutes. It will definitely save time and it'll automatically populate the minutes. And also it will automatically stream the live Zoom and download it instantaneously at the end of the meeting. So there's no more waiting.
Isn't technology grand?
It's amazing. So now I know your next question is where will we find the money?
Well, first you got to get to a cost, then you can find where do we find the money.
Okay, so the cost. I have been able to get, let's see, where is it? It says it, I believe it's 15 months for 12 months.
For 12.
So we can
Oh,
start
okay.
this year and we won't be charged until the beginning of next year. The total investment for the initial term setup is $14,115. And then the annual recurring service is $12,300.
Okay, thank you.
Do you get support from the company for setting up and?
We do.
Learning
So we get training, up to 4 hours of training. We get virtual consulting for 1 hour. And then we can always reach out and ask questions too.
And this is Civics Plus, who is the people that we already do our website through, correct?
That's correct. And so we'll have unlimited storage for all of our.
Which is what we're having a problem with now. Got it. So now you can move on for me anyway and tell me where you're finding the money.
Okay, so we have Jen Neal as our fiscal manager guru, and she was able to help in finding this money. So since 2009, the commissioner's non-departmental budget has consistently included a $10,000 allocation under bars 514-23-4900. It's non-departmental miscellaneous financial. Despite being budgeted annually, this allocation has remained unused since 2020. It's important to note that the unused budget allocations do not roll over each year and therefore do not represent available cash savings. Now, the proposal is the reallocation of the unused budget. I propose to maintain a status quo budget by reallocating the $10,000 allocation from bars 514-23-4900 to support my new software request. This reallocation will direct the funds to the IT budget, which is responsible for managing the software subscriptions. And then there's also the fleet pool adjustment. In the 2023 budget, the commissioners established the fleet pool, at which time there was uncertainty regarding the potential cost for repairs and maintenance and miscellaneous expenses. So it resulted in a slightly higher budget allocation. Since 2023, the fleet size has been reduced from 6 vehicles to 3. The 2 of them, I believe, have been consistently checked out. And so we did give 1 to senior services. So even with the original 6 vehicles, repair and miscellaneous expenses were minimal. Therefore, I propose the following adjustments to reduce the non-departmental fleet budget allocation from $15,500 to $7,000 and reallocate $5,000 from the fleet budget to the IT budget to support the software request. So this proposal achieves the following objectives. It maintains a status quo budget. The overall budget allocation remains consistent while ensuring funds are efficiently utilized for necessary software expenditures. And it reduces the commissioners' combined general fund budgets needed by $3,500. So by reallocating resources, we can effectively address current budget priorities without increasing the overall budget demand. It enhances the IT department's capability. By directing $15,000 towards the IT budget, the department can cover the new software request, supporting operational efficiency and modernization efforts. In conclusion, this proposal presents a strategic reallocation of funds to better align with current priorities, ensuring fiscal responsibility and effective budget management.
So just clarification, the motor pool, the fleet pool maintenance budget will be down to 7,000, is that what you said? For 3 vehicles?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson, are you still with us or did you have to go to your other meeting?
I'm still here.
Okay.
My first question is that $10,000 that we haven't used since 2020, what was that actually used for in the past?
It was used for radio ads, which now that would go under communications.
So we've